And this is one of the biggest differences between first and business class on these airlines, and something I feel like a lot of people don't talk about. And that is... Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope y'all are doing well. So if you've watched some of my points and miles videos, as well as my most recent videos on this channel, you will know that I have an affinity for traveling to Japan, especially on ANA or Japan Airlines in first or business class. And with my most recent trip on Japan Airlines first class back from Tokyo to New York, I have now flown Japan Airlines business, Japan Airlines first, as well as ANA first and ANA business class. My ANA, the room business class, as well as my Japan Airlines first class are reviewed here on the channel, and my Japan Airlines business class, as well as my ANA first, are actually in my Instagram stories highlights. But make sure that you are subscribed, because when I go back to Japan in March, I am either going to fly ANA first class or Japan Airlines business class, just kind of nailing down the details, but make sure you're subscribed because I will definitely have a video of that on this channel. So now that I have flown all four of those, I thought it would be fun today to talk about the differences between business and first class, at least on these two Japanese airlines. One of the biggest questions that I see on Points and Miles forums is which is worth it to fly, business class or first class? What should I spend my points on? And by the way, I also have two videos on how to use your points to fly business or first class on Japan Airlines or ANA. So make sure you check those out as well. So in this video, I'm going to detail some of the big differences between first class and business class and give you my honest opinion on what I think is the best to fly, at least for me. And you might be surprised. So stay tuned. So first, obviously, let's talk about the airport experience, the departure experience, both checking in as well as the lounges, which to me are really important. Of course, with first class, you will receive one more checked bag than you usually would with business class. And the process is going to feel mostly the same. But if you are flying ANA first class from Narita Airport, there is actually a separate check-in area as well as a separate security line just for ANA first class, which is pretty cool, pretty luxurious. Now let's talk lounges. So there's going to be a separate first class section and a separate business class section in general on most lounges for ANA business or first or Japan Airlines business or first. And in general, the first class section is going to be better in terms of food, in terms of views, and in terms of service. But there is an asterisk or a caveat to this, and we'll talk about that at the end, so make sure you stay tuned. So now let's talk about getting on the plane. The first class section tends to have a separate jet bridge from the business class or economy class passengers, which is pretty nice. And once you're on the plane, the biggest differences you'll notice between the two classes are the number of seats as well as the size of the seats. First class cabins on ANA and Japan Airlines generally feature about 8 seats per cabin, while the business class cabin, depending on the aircraft, can go to more than 60 seats. Now, the first class seat is definitely more spacious and tends to allow more privacy, although with my ANA business class, the room seat, I definitely found a great deal of privacy, especially with the new closing doors to the seat. And there are less seats for a reason. With less seats comes more attention per flight attendant. And this is one of the biggest differences between first and business class on these airlines, and something I feel like a lot of people don't talk about, and that is the personalization of service that you're going to receive from the flight attendants. On my first class flights on ANA as well as Japan Airlines, the flight attendant made it a point to speak to every single person and give them about 5 minutes of personal attention to ask about their trip, to ask what they are looking forward to, wherever they're going. On ANA first class, I even remember a flight attendant sitting on her knees to speak to me at eye level, which was just a very nice personal touch. Also, in each first class that I've been on these airlines, the flight attendants have seen me documenting the flight with my phone and have offered to take pictures of me, which is something that did not happen in business classes that I've flown. Now back to the seat. Your seat is going to feature a slightly fancier amenity kit if you're in first class than business class, though I've kind of found it a little bit negotiable, nothing that really jumps out to me. But an amenity that you will receive in first class that you will not receive in business class is pajamas. First class for ANA and Japan Airlines do hand you a set of pajamas that you can sleep in, and they will take the clothes that you arrived in on the plane and hold them for safekeeping, which is a pretty nice touch. And also you can take the pajamas home with you if you'd like. Now the sizing of the pajamas is a little weird, but they're free, so who's to complain? The next big difference is food. And to illustrate this, I'm going to show you on the same flight the Japan Airlines first class food menu as well as the Japan Airlines business class food menu. And by the way, this is the same first class menu that I had when I was on Japan Japan Airlines first class in my most recent video. So the first thing you'll notice is that there are definitely less courses in business class than there are in first class. And if you see the little illustration picture on the right hand side, you will notice that the plating is a bit different than it is for the Japan Airlines first class. Another big difference that you might notice is that there is no caviar in business class. On Japan Airlines first as well as ANA first, I had caviar with each of my meals, but that is not really available in business class. So if caviar is something that you are really wanting to try, you might want to fly first class. And the last big difference that we'll go over, of course, is that your bag arrives first because you are first class. You are the biggest priority on the plane, so your bag is going to arrive before the business class passengers. Okay, so those are some of the biggest differences between first and business class, at least on ANA and Japan Airlines. But now I'm going to share with you my opinion of what I think is really the best or most preferred, at least for me, flying between business and first class. So remember I was talking about the level of personalized service in first class that differs from business class. In first class, the flight attendants will make it a point to talk to you for a while, to engage with you, to personalize your service, to make you feel extra special in first class. However, if you're an introvert, like me, then this can make you feel just a little bit awkward. Nothing against the flight attendants. I think they're lovely, just trying to do their jobs, but it is a little bit awkward for me, at least as an introvert, to keep talking about my trip, to keep talking about myself. I say this as I have a YouTube channel, but when I'm in first class and I'm trying to enjoy the seat as well as the food, as well as the amenities, as well as the in-flight entertainment selection, I just don't kind of want to make small talk with the flight attendant. And I always feel bad just being super awkward and kind of going into my own shell about that. So in that sense, I do prefer the greater anonymity of business class. Caviar and pajamas be damned. That's just my personal preference. I like being anonymous but having my luxurious seat to just get away kind of from everything, especially if it's going to be the new ANA, the room business class, which I really liked. You can see my flight review of that, but I just thought the privacy as well as the seat was absolutely fantastic. In either case, the biggest piece of advice I can give you, especially if you only have enough points to fly first or business class one way, is to research the lounges. And for a lot of people, especially if you are American, the lounges in other parts of the world are so much better than they are here in America. The lounges in Jfk Airport here in New York, where I live, as you can hear from the cars outside, the lounges here do not hold a candle to the lounges in Tokyo, both Haneda and Narita airports. There is no question that the lounges in Tokyo are so much better than the ones here. Now that may be different if you're flying from Chicago or LA, maybe they have nicer lounges, but definitely here in New York, lounges they're subpar. I also always recommend flying business or first class home so that you can relax and soften your transition to the real world after having a whirlwind trip. And I think that's it. If you've flown both business class and first class, let me know if I missed anything that you definitely think is important to note. And to be clear, whether it's first or business class, you're gonna have an absolutely fantastic experience no matter what. That's what these classes are built for, especially on ANA or Japan Airlines. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.